We had a wonderful week together. We sang a lot of songs, told some stories, and practiced making new friends. Oh, Darlene was there. Did you raise your hand, Darlene? Okay. All while sharing a little of the good news that God has so graciously shared with us. Good news right from the creation story through God's covenant with Abraham to the coming of Jesus and right up to today as we explored our part in the never-ending story of God's love for us. God's love as vast as the universe. For me, being is so often easier with children. I think I'm more myself. It's not to say I'm not myself with you all, grown-ups. It's just harder. There's more layers, more life lived, more chances to make mistakes and to make someone unhappy. With children and youth, it's all in the now, all in the moment to moment living. What I remembered this week, the gift of Vacation Bible School, is the joy of that living moment to moment, as it should be when it can be. Yet we all grow up and begin our journeys toward adulthood, adulting, as it's called now by my own children. Adulting has been different over time. In Jesus' time, as soon as you could carry your weight, literally, you know the expression, carry your own weight, that was what it meant. Whenever you could carry your own weight, you started to work. Work is life, because without work, I don't think any of us would survive very long. Martha, it seems, and I'm pretty sure Mary, knew hard work. They knew they had to do work to live. From the beautiful bit of Luke's gospel, we hear, though, that Mary realized what has been known as a beginner's mind. The mind and posture of one who can let go of thinking and believing in the one right answer. She seems to have an attitude of openness, eagerness, and a lack of preconception. Mary models the posture of a seeker with a heart to receive the radical offering of hospitality Christ gives. She was a woman at the feet of Jesus, the place reserved for the disciples, the men. I wonder if Mary, in that place, frightened Martha more than irritated her. This was, after all, some uncharted territory, a pretty new frontier. It was not the normal place for a woman. The posture of learner for women was just not part of first century culture. But there Mary is. Mary, like a child, forgetting all the conventions of life, forgetting all the conventions of gender, just sitting and listening, pushing aside her sister's anxiety and just being. There are moments when Jesus comes to our house, when Jesus abides with us. In these moments, we too have the chance to let go of the conventions that bind each of us. That could be age, it could be gender, it could be status. With our beginner minds open to possibility, we can let go of fear and expectation. We can release our preconceived notions and listen. We might even let go of the need to do. And that's the joy and gift of Vacation Bible School. I sat at Jesus' feet with our children and teens and volunteers and received the hospitality of Christ It's true, yes. I, like Martha, have tons of work to do. We, like Martha, have a ton of work to do. But sitting and singing and telling stories is far more life-giving, far more welcoming, far more hospitable than all the other doing, even the stuff we call very important. What I remembered as being with Jesus means occasionally, and maybe more often than occasionally, to take a beginner's mind, recognizing that this is a place of vulnerability, and being vulnerable is not easy. This is more of that same new territory without the clearest of roadmaps. When in those situations, we are likely, just like Martha, to say, "No way," to resist the hospitality offered to us. We might turn to blame, we might get angry or resentful. Because like Martha, my first reaction is to get up and go to the kitchen. Go to the kitchen and make some sandwiches. I like making sandwiches for people. I love that sense of accomplishment and the self-satisfaction of completing a task. You know that, where you get to put the check mark and cross it off your list? I also know the longing to sit at Jesus' feet, to seek the good news Christ brings, to receive the hospitality of the divine. So, being with children, sitting with youth is restorative. And so it is every time we, with a beginner's mind, let go of what we think we know and hang out with someone we don't know. Listen to someone who looks different, who worships differently, who eats different foods, who might speak a different language or wear different clothes, someone whose skin is a different color, who comes from a different land. There are so many ways we might receive the hospitality of Christ. And as we heard in Paul's letter, this is the work of the church, the body of Christ, charged to listen and share this good news in the world. Many of you may have heard that Gallup released their annual poll that measured the confidence of institutions, right? One of those institutions being religion. Only 36% of the respondents said they had confidence in the church or organized religion. It's a far cry from the 60% confidence the church enjoyed in the 70s and 80s. Hearing that news, though not new to most of us, that number has been declining since then, but hearing that news in juxtaposition with the gospel makes me wonder if perhaps the way we do church isn't really helping to improve that waning sense of trustworthiness of the institution. Now, I'm the first to admit my observations are certainly not statistically accurate. But I wonder if maybe we could all practice a bit more of being like Mary, focus more on listening to each other rather than resisting that, risk that vulnerability. Maybe. Jesus offers us all extraordinary hospitality. Jesus sets no limits on the hospitality that is heaven sent. Christ offers love, offers hospitality to children and women, to lepers, to the demon-possessed, the tax collector, to the outsider, wherever and whenever. Radical, extraordinary, extravagant. We, the fragile ones on this earthly walk, face that hospitality very predictably, often acting like Mary, out of fear of the unknown, and can help us get moving directly to the doing. We hear this gospel of the Sisters of Bethany, and we try to accept, we try to model that Christ comes to all of us. Jesus wants us all, as close as Mary, to listen. just like Vacation Bible School. I see the love of God in you, the light of Christ comes shining through, and I am blessed to be with you, O holy child of God. Amen.